right then, let's bring up Alex Chrisman.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Chrisman. Thank you for the invitation to be here tonight. I am a project administrator with Access Services, so I just want to start by asking, how many of you are familiar with Access? Okay, so we got 2, maybe 3. So I'll provide a quick explanation of what Access is, and then I'll go into the presentation. Okay, so Access is a government agency that runs paratransit service on behalf of fixed-route bus operators in Los Angeles County. So wherever you have a fixed-route bus operation, here you have Santa Clarita Transit. If you go down into the basin, you've got Metro. According to the Americans with Disabilities Act, the agencies have to put money into a fund, essentially, to run a service for those who cannot use the regular bus. And so there can be a variety of reasons why that is the case, but that is the purpose of Access. We provide an alternative for folks that can't use the regular fixed-route bus. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and go into the presentation. We're going to cover a new application that's coming out for smartphones that will make riding access easier. Then I'm going to talk about our website redesign. Then I'll get into a transfer trip expansion and Metrolink information, followed by a question and answer period. So this is a new application that Access has come out with to try to make the service easier to use. So one of the things we find with our riders is they want to know where their vehicle is. That's a very common question people will have. So the app is an easy-to-use system to check on your ride up to 15 minutes before the scheduled time. You can view the location of a vehicle on a map along with an estimated time of arrival. You can use a smartphone, computer, tablet, or flip phone. So even if you don't have a smartphone and you have a basic phone, you can get an ETA with that. And the system is available in the LA Basin regions, and it will be coming here to this area by the end of this year. And in order to register for this, you go on the website, or and then you create an account by entering 4 pieces of information regarding your eligibility. And where do you get this application? So even if you don't ride Access, if you have a neighbor who does, or you have people who use Access, it's good to know this. You download the application from the Apple or iOS market, you install it, register, and then you can check the ETA of the vehicle 15 minutes before promised time. And it'll give you the opportunity at the end to go ahead and rate the ride, similar to Uber or Lyft, so you can let us know how you feel the ride experience was. And this is a picture of what the trip list looks like within the application. So you'll see in green, that's the pickup, and in purple, that's the drop-off. This is the map view. And then this is what I talked about earlier, that you have the ratings where you can rate the ride safety, the courtesy of the driver, and the clean vehicle. And then on our website, which is accessla.org, there's a wealth of information about Access there. Among those things, you'll learn about the Where's My Ride application. The next thing I want to talk about briefly is our redesign of our website. If anyone's ever been to the Access website, it's been in its form for some time, and we want to make it better. So one of the things we're going to do is make the site more accessible. I mean, a lot of our riders are visually impaired, or they have difficulties with the regular website, so we are investing in making it easier for visually impaired riders and their screen readers to use. There's going to be better organization of the website. So right now, there's a lot of information being presented at once. And our communications team has divided things into 3 sections. There's an I'm a Rider section, so that's for folks who are already riding. And then there's the I'd like to become a rider section. So for folks who have never ridden but are interested in becoming a rider, that explains the process. There is a rider's guide section, which tells you all about the ins and outs of Access. This is in beta, so it's still being developed, but we're expecting it to roll out potentially towards the end of this year. And finally, when we have emergencies, we want to make it very clear what information we want to send to the riders. So currently, We can put a small message on the website. It's there to be seen. Like, for example, if we have to stop service in Santa Clarita, or let me not jinx Santa Clarita, I'll say somewhere else, have to stop service in downtown LA for some reason, then we can put a message on the website stating that that is a fact. But it may be a little hard to see, so we're going to make it a lot bigger. So as you can see here, this is just the top portion of what the website's going to look like, and it will have a very prominent warning. So if you have any folks that are using Access or using it yourself and you've heard that the service is shut down, you can go on our website and see this information in addition to other information that we provide. And then right below that, you see what I was referring to, the I'm a Rider, I'd like to become a Rider, and the Rider's Guide. So the next thing I have to talk about is an expansion of our transfer trip service. And what this is for folks in Santa Clarita or the Antelope Valley, it is necessary to transfer vehicles at the Allview Medical Center. If you wish to leave Santa Clarita, you would get on a vehicle here in Santa Clarita, you would travel to the Allview Medical Center, and you'd get on a different vehicle that would take you to your final destination within Los Angeles County. So currently, we do it at the hospital, as I said, and the reason for that is it's a nice place to wait. There's an indoor waiting area, there's a restroom, there's security. The current status is there's 3 connections during the week and 4 connections, 3 connections from the Antelope Valley and 4 from Santa Clarita. The trips cost $7 each way from Antelope Valley and $6 here at Santa Clarita. And we have what's called a starter there, which is an employee who works for our contractor, MV, and they're monitoring the service, making sure everything is going smooth. One reservation call takes care of the whole scheduling. So if you were going to do a round trip, if you were going to leave from Santa Clarita and go to, let's say, Claremont, which is in our service area, then one call would handle the entire reservation process. So we try to make it easy on people that way. So this shows you a brief look at the current ridership, the current demand. So here in Santa Clarita, there's about 53 trips per week. And as we roll this out, we're expecting more people to utilize the service because it's going to be more convenient. Okay, as far as outreach, what we did to engage with the community on this is we solicited feedback. So I went to the Accessibility Advisory Committee that Santa Clarita has, and we participated in a number of different outreach activities. And we learned the number one thing people want, unfortunately, is the hardest to do, which is to eliminate the transfers altogether. And that's because of the economy of scale, and we need to run this program efficiently, so we can't have individual trips going that far. We have to put everyone on a bigger vehicle, and that limits the ability to eliminate the transfers completely. But a lot of other things were possible. People wanted additional weekday connections. They wanted more weekend connections. They wanted more comfortable vehicles, and I'll get to that in a little bit. And they said the fare was too high, the $6 each way from Santa Clarita. And they wanted us to consider alternative locations for transfer connection. We did decide to stick with the hospital for the reasons I mentioned, that it's safe, it's secure. It's a place we've been for years and years, and it's worked out. Now, you'll see the current schedule at Santa Clarita. It's 7:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., 3 p.m., and 5:30 p.m. And in our proposed schedule, which is going to start, and this should actually say approved because our board recently approved this, we're going to go from 4 trips to 8 trips. So we're going to start as early as 6 in the morning, 6 a.m., 7:30, 10 a.m., 12:30, 3, 4:30, 6 p.m., and 8 p.m. And what this allows that wasn't really possible before in all cases is for someone to go deep into LA County and return the same day without having to be in an extreme rush. And then on the weekend, we have historically never had service at all, and we're adding 3 trips, one at 7:30 a.m., one at 12:30 p.m., one at 6 p.m. Now, Access is interesting because some people think that we only serve doctor's appointments or those type of appointments, but we actually will take you to Disneyland because there's a LA Metro bus that goes there. And we can't decide we can't basically judge people's trips. They're all treated the same because that's the way the law is written. So with this, it would be possible for a rider to go all the way to Anaheim and come back in the same day on the weekend. But I don't know if you want to pay Disney. Let me not go there. Okay. As far as other improvements, earlier I mentioned that our rider feedback talked about the vehicles being a bit uncomfortable. Well, we are piloting 3 vehicles that will be used in this service that will have a computer-controlled suspension. And what that basically means is the computer will be constantly making adjustments to the suspension, and I'm told it's like riding in a Cadillac. If you've ever ridden in one of those buses, which is known as a cutaway, you can see it there on the bottom left. It's a little bumpy. Earlier in my career, I used to drive them, so I'm very familiar with them. And so this new upgraded suspension should help considerably. And we're going to add another employee at the transfer site at Allview Medical Center that works for our contractor to continue to assist the riders. And then here's a big announcement that people were very excited about. We're lowering the fare from $6 to $3.50 if you're going 20 miles or more, which is going to be in most cases for transfers. If you're going less than that, $2.75. So this is starting on July 1st, and then we're going to monitor the service over a 6-month period and modify as necessary. All right, last thing I want to talk about here is if you have an Access ID card or you know anyone who does, you can use that card to ride Metrolink, and you can go anywhere in LA County with the Access card, which is a little green card. It says Access on it. That's how you know what it is, and it has the rider's picture. So how many of you have ridden Metrolink before? Okay. In full disclosure, I used to work for Metrolink years ago, so I'm familiar with them. Now, part of Access's mission is to promote access to all modes of transportation in Los Angeles County. So we want people to be able to travel freely throughout the county, and so that's why we partner with Metrolink. Now you ride free with your card, north to Lancaster, south, let me back up a little bit. It's valid within LA County. Now Metrolink goes all the way to Oceanside, it goes to San Bernardino. So what I'm about to share with you is the extent of LA County on Metrolink. You can go from here in Santa Clarita north to Lancaster. You can go south to Norwalk or Santa Fe Springs. You can go east to Claremont and Pomona, depending on which line you use, and you can go west to Chatsworth. The transfers take place at Union Station. So any of these destinations, except for Lancaster, it's a 2-train affair. You would be going to Union Station and catching another train. There are 15 southbound trains that go into Union Station, and there's 10 northbound trains that go up north. Now, what is actually on Metrolink? Metrolink is not your average. If you've ever ridden light rail, it's relatively basic. Metrolink does have some extra amenities. Metrolink has comfortable seats for the most part. They have air conditioning, they have restrooms, they have power outlets, they have tables. If you are using Access or you know someone who is, I highly recommend that you have them ride or suggest that they ride in the conductor's car. What is the conductor's car? It's in that picture. That's what's known as the cab car. So for those of you familiar with Metrolink at all, what they do is they have an engine on one end and they have the cab car on the other. The cab car is in that picture, and instead of turning the train around with what's known as a Y, the engineer literally will get out of the engine, he'll walk to the rear, get in the cab car, and turn around in 10 minutes flat or less. So the cab car is where you will always find the conductor, usually. And that's also where the accessible ramp comes out to board the train. And that's also where the conductor can be aware if somebody needs extra time to exit the train. So if anyone, for any reason, needs to take extra time or is using a mobility device such as a wheelchair or a walker, I highly recommend using that car for the reasons I just described. So now I'm happy to take any questions, time permitting, at the discretion of the chair. So, yes, ma'am. It's coming back from the rear.
Thank you. So if I wanted to go to Claremont, I would have an access bus pick me up at my house. I'd go down to Metrolink. Go down to Olive View, and I'd change to what?
You would change to another access vehicle.
Okay. And that would take me all the way to Claremont, or would I need to catch a bus somewhere?
No, it would be as long as your destinations are in the service area, and most of them are, it would be a 2-vehicle ride, and it would be entirely on access.
Cool. Very good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we have a friend that's vision impaired and has almost no sight. Now, how does he get on access, and what happens when he's getting off and has to get on the next one?
Sure. So how does he qualify for access? There is a number that you call. I can provide that to you when I come down from here. And you call that number, and you tell them that you want, your friend would tell the person who answers that he's interested or she's interested in riding access. And then what's going to happen is they're going to schedule an evaluation. So we do evaluations locally here. Does this person live in Santa Clarita? Yeah, so it'll be done at the transit maintenance facility with our partners, Santa Clarita Transit. And he'll have an evaluation done, which will determine if he's able to ride the public bus or not. And depending on the outcome of that, that will determine if there's eligibility for access. And so the one piece of advice I would give for anyone going to one of these evaluations is if you have medical documentation, bring it. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it can help.
Well, I'm pleased to hear about the justification, because about 6 months ago he looked into this and they said he had to go through that, either Lancaster or City of Industry, someplace out of town, nothing here in Santa Clarita for his evaluation.
Sure, I'll get your information, and I'll look into that, because there is evaluations in Santa Clarita. Now, I'm not from that department, so it is possible. I know they do them there. Okay. I just don't know. There could be some reason they weren't doing them at that time, so I'll do some research.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And if he's visually impaired, he still can be picked up and helped onto the bus and helped off and transferred Olive View, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, the drivers are trained to be cognizant of folks' needs. I mean, there is a limit to what they can do, but they will be paying attention. They will offer an arm for someone to hold on to. They are trained in how to assist folks that are visually impaired.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is there like uneligible requirements? Just somebody by themselves can just call and say, I need to go to here, and they can go without having an issue?
So in order to ride access, you have to be an eligible rider. There are different categories of that. There are folks that are fully eligible. That's the majority. Then you have folks that have restricted eligibility, which it depends on. A good example is there are folks that may have night blindness. So they can take trips at night, but they wouldn't be able to take trips during the day. It's all centered around the functional ability to use the public bus. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, that was, you need to be having a membership card, and that membership card is determined by your evaluation.
That is correct, yes.
Let's give Alex a big hand.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.